Hello, I'm Donald Leggett and welcome to the latest Focus IR London South East CEO interview. I'm joined by John Wood, CEO at Harland Wolff Group. Harland are an AIM-listed multi-site fabrication company working in the maritime and offshore energy industry. Welcome, John.
Good morning, Donald. Great to see you again.
Yep, and Harland have been busy recently. Lots of positive news flow around the business. Tell us more.
Well, look, Donald, I think you're actually just beginning now to see the end of several years' hard work with contracts starting to come through. The reputation that we are building globally is beginning to shine through, and you're starting to see the rewards of all that hard work over the past few years. I think we had the fleet solid support that came in earlier on this year. We've had M55 running through. You know, the dry dock's pretty much been full. So I think, look, everything's beginning to come together, but there's lots more potential.
And today we're talking about the SeaRose FPSO midlife upgrade contract, which is worth £61 million. So who were the client and why is this a significant win for Harland Wolff Belfast?
I think what you'll have seen, Donald, since we first started this conversation, I remember back to the first interview we did when we were really happy with the contract value at £250,000, just after we'd acquired the assets in Belfast. I think what this contract demonstrates is just that slow and gradual growth in size of contracts and the complexity of contracts. You know, an FPSO contract is a fairly specialist bit of kit. Fairly in-depth. The technical standards that are required across the board are really right up there. So it just shows you the way the team's grown and the nature of the talent that we've brought into the business has really come to the front. And I think, Cenovus Energy in Canada is the company that we're working with, that we've contracted to, one of the great big players in this FPSO game. I think that they recognise the size of the docks we've got are second to none for this project, and the team that we've got is great. And I think there's a real mixture between steelwork, process plant, and I think it's just a lead-in to these major conversion projects, because you remember, we've got the full life cycle, service cycle from the beginning of the project to engineering design through fabrication and engineering, in-service support, repair, conversion. And, we're now getting into this larger conversion market. So I think the fact that one project comes into the building dock and it's there for several months, vessel comes in February and is through there until the summer. So look, it's a great project, and what a great lead in to fleet solid support.
And from the RNS, it does sound as though the work has already started. You've already started preparation for the upgrade. So what happens from here? What's the timeline from here?
So I think when you look at these programs, they don't happen overnight. There's a lot of procurement work to do. I think there's over 250 containers of materials in different type of kit coming in. There's obviously a lot of steel to come in for the steel work that's to be done in tanks and things like that. So there's a lot of engineering design, work pack design, and production all ongoing. There's a lot of the process kit that's getting put together outside the yard. So it's really this pre-planning phase. The success of a project's all in the pre-planning. We've had teams out in Canada, we've had the Canadian teams over in the yard. So it's really about getting really well positioned for when the ship comes in February. And I think it's no different than what was seen on fleet solid support. That's been going down the same route of pre-planning, M55 pre-planning. And, when we look at the cruise ships, the FPSO's in the yard for a lot longer, whereas a cruise ship's only in, for 14, 21 days. So I think that pre-planning and the logistics, you have thousands of crane lifts on this. So the critical path is the key thing to making sure everything happens at the right time in the right order,
No, that's a very interesting answer, John. Tell us how the SeaRose upgrade is benefiting from the skills and technology put in place for the Fleet Solid Support contract, which you've referenced a couple of times already.
Yeah, and I think, look, it's fundamental what's going on in Belfast, and it's probably worth stopping on Fleet Solid Support and just giving you a little bit of an update on what's happening with that. I think we're now in the detail of it. There's lots of procurement activities that are going on through Belfast, which again drags revenue for this financial year through the system. We've got the Capex upgrade program where we've got the new panel line ordered, one of the most sophisticated bits of technology coming into UK shipbuilding. We've got the civil contract awarded, so the new extension to the fabrication hall, so we've got the process flow is all been signed. They're on site now. We had Penny Mordaunt on site doing the tough cutting ceremony a few weeks back. So look, I think everything's really coming together down in Appledore. There's some Capex works that we're doing down there just to upgrade that site as well. And I think, all the people that we've brought in and the skills, and I think the interesting thing, by the time we ramp up for fleet solid support, there won't be a lot more labour to ramp up on by the time we get to when we ramp up on SeaRose, there won't be a lot more labour needed for fleet solid support. So I think, with those guys that we've had in already, with additions we're making now, it really gives us a really strong foundation to build on,
Okay, and in terms of pipeline, what might we be hearing about next?
Well, I think if you look at what we've said all the way through, it's all about the pipeline, it's all about the longevity. And I think what you're starting to see now is things flow through the pipeline that we've been working on for a long period of time. Even before the tender documents come out, we were working on SeaRose, building those relationships with clients and things like that. Clearly, we've got M55 progressing through, due to finish up next summer, and we've got various cruise ships that we're in discussions and negotiations with that we hope to secure at least certain ones fairly shortly. And then, you've got the Corrie barge contract that continues to deliver barges. And again, a great programme was set up from the beginning to really build that skill set in the yard. And I think, you look at the number of vessels that are coming through the dry dock. We continue to win work in a competitive environment. And don't forget, when we won SeaRose, that was an international competition that we won that in. It wasn't all about price. It was all about, who planned it properly, who had the right procurement strategy, who had the right critical path. So I think, when you look at those type of programs, that's what we're really beginning to get a name for, going back as far as Ocean X, that you remember from a couple of years ago. That was a program also that came from Canada. The word got around Canada, when you've got big complex engineering problems, Harland Wolff's the place to come. So I think there's lots in the pipeline, and I think we're really excited that we've gone from the initial basic stages of getting the yard operational again, to getting through some of the smaller jobs, to be now getting into more of the meaty programme that will come. And I think things will only continue to improve as we start looking to the route to 500,
Okay, and if we could end on Island McGee, the judicial review has been appealed as expected, but nonetheless, I understand the work programme continues. So tell us more about Island McGee. What's happening there?
Well, look, Donald, I think we could only expect it would get appealed. It should never have been brought in the first place. I think there was 62 grounds that they brought, and they got them whittled down to, I think they went with about 5 in the end once the judge threw out the rest of them. And then by the time he went through and had the judicial review hearing, he had the 5 grounds for appeal, and he threw them out with a fairly lengthy explanation why he was throwing them out. So look, I'm still of the same opinion I was a couple of years ago, that this project will be built. The security of Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK for energy supplies is reliant on this project being built, and especially when you look at future energy needs, we need the energy, we need the storage. And again, when you look at where we are with Russia and Ukraine at the moment, never has it been more prevalent that energy is a big issue, and we've got one of the largest energy storage projects sitting on our doorstep, ready to go. So look, I think it will be built. We're continuing to have discussions with several interested parties around what the structure of a deal may look like. We're certainly surprised by the level of interest on the judicial review being thrown out. A lot of people have come out and started having conversations, some UK, some overseas. But look, until a deal's done, nothing's done until it's signed. So we continue to push on, and let's see where we get to. Still, all the options are on the table, from us maintaining a share in the project, to us selling the project, to us funding as part of an external funder. So I think we continue to play the three lines, and let's see where we get to. I think the appeal against the judicial review, we really see as irrelevant to where we're going with the project at this moment in time. There's certainly no advice we've been given that says there's any merit in it, you know.
Okay, John Wood, CEO at Harland Wolff Group. That was brilliant. Thank you for the Island McGee update. Thank you for the SeaRose update. And for more company information, please go to the Harland Wolff Bulletin Board in London South East, where Harland is one of the most talked about companies. Meanwhile, do follow us on Twitter. That would be @_FocusIR_ and @London South East, or register on London South East YouTube to receive alerts to our next Harland interview. Thank you very much indeed for watching.